Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Prologue Subcast. I am joined by Obs, my co-host, Sarvak, my recording guy, and I have Sacred Listen here today. We're going to be talking about the Saga Point system, which is laid out, which hasn't got a whole lot of attention to it, which I think we should bring some light to it because it does have some very good concepts to it. Obs, I'm going to let you take over the interview stage, if you will, please.
All right. It's nice to have you here, Sagerless. It's good to see the local Prologue breeder to be in here with us.
Hello, ladies. I'm here in the house.
Yes, exactly. Okay, what exactly is the Saga Point system?
All right, the Saga Point system is supposed to help guilds work along the storyline that the staff is creating along with the players. They get to influence the story and towards a certain direction. But I think that there are certain problems with it.
So essentially, what the Saga Point system is it allows players to influence the staff storyline in a way, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It is a part. It's not the same thing as the RTS system, which also allows some sort of influence on the world, but it's not the same as influencing the story.
Okay.
So what is the difference between the Saga and the RTS?
Well, the RTS, it allows resources and all that kind of stuff, and the spawning of NPCs and certain buildings for the guild to use and create new resources. This is completely separate from that. This is about the storyline, intrigue, and political stuff. So like taking over the empire and that kind of stuff. I imagine. I'm not part of the crew, so I can't.
Yes,
don't really,
of course. It's all
Obvious.
speculation in your take. Yeah.
This is just a player concept here, but essentially it won't require very much scripting, correct?
The Saga Point system is already on the schedule of the staff. It's not my idea. That I just want certain changes.
Yeah, he was bringing up his take and what he felt about it. Yeah. Okay. And how do you feel about it, and how do you feel like it's going to play into the community, and how, just give us your take on the Saga Point system.
Well, we all know that the reward systems don't really tend to work out as we want them to. I think this system has a lot of potential, but there are two main problems with it. Namely, that it doesn't take into account groups at all, groups like cults and things that are mostly underground.
Yeah.
And it promotes creating very large events with massive amount of people, with over 20 people, that kind of stuff. And I would like to see it more go into the direction where you can do a meaningful event with only 5, just at random. You do create an event thread about it, like the requirements are now. Yeah.
Or you could just essentially talk to a staff member beforehand and a PM and say we're organizing this instead of doing an event thread, and you could get 5 players in there. You can go on and pretty much get the deed done with, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel spontaneous events would play into this? Say that everyone gets together and decides, hey, we're going to have a random, party or what have you, a warship, what have you, depending on the guild. Would that play into it as well? What you would want to play into it?
I would like to see that happen. I'm just not sure how we should do it. How we should do that. I think they are going to allow spontaneous events but there are still going to be the requirements of you need a certain amount of feedback posts and a certain amount of screenshots, and I have problems with the feedback posts that need to be made. You need a total of 5 feedback posts that are constructive in order to get 10 points, or otherwise you won't get any point at all. At least that is what I understood of it.
Okay, that's good. Now, there are some issues that have been brought up by other players that have looked at this thread, and I want to see what you think, how we could get around that, or how the issues could be. One issue was going to be there has to be an extreme unbiased being maintained by crew and staff or anyone who's going to be looking over this. And do you feel like this is going to be an issue of people being biased because their friend did this event, or do you feel like there will be a system to get over this?
If you the template is basically a checklist. These things have to happen in order to make this a quote-unquote good event. Like you need a certain amount of screenshots, and you need to be able to show everything in the event that has taken place, like a sort of proof, and then post it in your thread. So it's you need a lot of evidence to get the points that you need. I just think that you need to the judgment on whether something is constructive feedback, because participants get to post feedback on the event. When is something like that constructive? That is where a lot of bias can come around, I think.
That's very true. And of course, there's going to be screenshots and the feedback. But, what about if this is an event, some dumb event? Let's just bring up examples of people wanting to take on Deadwind Pass and getting killed. And suddenly you see the pop-up, there will be no refunds, but honestly, everyone, yeah. What do you do if everyone that comes in with that event that was a terrible idea and vouches for it?
That's why you have staff oversight in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that's why you have that PM is we're going to be doing this, and then the crew member, whoever it is, says, well, that's a bad idea. Normally that would get rid of most of the problems. Like, i.e. Dunril, we're going to go take over Deadwind Pass, and we're going to go in with 5 people, and we're going to attack an entire whatever's in Deadwind Pass. We're going to go take over Karazam. But my take on it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. The thing is that the staff can only say no to things and not really say yes. If you don't have the other requirements filled in, they can't say yes to it, but they can say no whenever. They are kind of the brakes in the entire community. If something really goes wrong, they just say no, and that's really all they can do. They can't make changes to it so that it fits their view. They can only say yes or no, and basically only no. So I don't think that bias will appear very often unless you get a 20-foot ogre spawned on your ass. Yeah. Because I really hated that.
Million HP ogre? Forever in our hearts. Forever in our hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So.
Next question.
What made you come up with this idea in the first place, Sacred? You were just out of curiosity.
Well, I had this conversation with Ross, and I wanted to have an umbrella guild with multiple groups that all had conflicting interests, and that had to go. That we're going to have like a big conflict going on in the North Camdor. But he said no to it, and this was the reason, was that the saga point system would not be able to support it, simply because groups in a guild won't be able to get the saga points that they need to develop the storyline in a certain direction. The guild will get it, and the guild will probably use them, but only for their benefit, to get more members, for example, like make things more shiny. That is what I expect will happen. I'm not saying that Ross said that, but the guild has a lot of potential to abuse the activity that's being put in by several subgroups in the guild itself. If that makes sense.
That's true, but you have to consider that the staff is also putting in a Weaver system now for players, and it's closely moderated. But essentially, what you're saying is give more players the power, correct? Or rather, give players more power.
Not necessarily. I just want to see people. I want to see more overlap between different peoples with different interests. For example, if you have a mage that wants to get arcane magic back in the human empire,
mm-hmm.
and you have a mage that wants that, but also with dark magic in it. That's those kind of characters. Those need a lot of. They have a very different interest in why they want certain changes, and I want to see that reflected in what groups they have joined. And the beauty of groups is that you can join several at the same time, but you can only join one guild at a time. So I think that if you allow groups to get saga points, you will be more able to get your character in the groups that you want and which you feel you need to join in order to get the right mix, you could say.
That's true. But do you feel like there's going to be an issue with saga points snowballing? Once the guild gets so large, it'll be easier to get them more and more. And do you think that's going to be an issue, or if it's going to be unfair to other guilds, or how do you feel about that?
Well, I agree that it might be a little unfair. In fact, it's one of the points that I did bring up. But in the end, larger guilds do have a very good atmosphere when they are run well. It's a lot of the things that I'm going to say in this interview are going to be directed at guilds that are run well, because things always go wrong in guilds that go bad.
Okay.
But
yeah.
If you we need to have these possibilities open for guilds to expand, and if you have a lot of members, you have a lot of interaction, and I want a lot of interaction between people in order to generate more interesting RP. I've visited a lot of different media over the last year, and I've noticed that the more detached people became from guilds, the more interesting the RP became, simply because the more different characters get to meet each other in one guild. So if you have a very large guild that encompasses a lot of different groups, you have a much larger chance of people meeting each other, even if it's just in guild chat. Like, hey, I need someone coming here because I think that'll be fun. Oh yeah, I'll join in.
Yeah, great. Yeah, sounds. Yeah, I see what you're saying here, but this is our first subcast we're doing. We're keeping it under 15 minutes here. Do you have anything to add?
No, I feel like everything's good. And of course, anyone can feel free to go into the thread that you've made in the feedback section in general discussion, and they can ask questions there. But I encourage everyone listening to go check it out, because it is a really great idea, and Sakerless did a wonderful job fleshing out his side of it and what he feels about it. And I'm sure you'll be happy about answering questions in the thread, won't you?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Oh yeah. Prologue. Just what I wanted to say. I think I'm saying Prologue now. I'm sorry if that bothered people. Prologue. It's my accent. I swear. It's my accent.
No one cares about accents. Everyone on this server has an accent. It's fine. Yeah. Anyway.
Right, so,
all right.
Anyways, thanks for joining us. This is our first subcast, everybody, and stay tuned. Saturday we are recording some Horde stuff with Roz and a bunch of other people. It's going to be exciting, and stay tuned. Thanks for listening to the Prologue podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers.